Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth session of our Work from Home with Sage webinar series. Hope everyone is keeping well and safe. My name is Priscilla, your host this morning. We have Nicholas, our partner account manager, together with RC, our solution consultant, with us today to share and demonstrate how you could use Sage Enterprise Intelligence to unlock the power of your Sage 300 data. You are put on listening mode during the presentation, and you could unmute yourself during the Q&A. Meantime, if you have any question, you may type that in the control panel on your right. Without further delay, over to you, Nick.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to actually join us for today's webinar. Before I start, I hope everyone is keeping well, you're safe, your family and everyone is safe and healthy. So as you realize, we have actually been running a couple of webinars over the past few weeks. We started off with how you can enable work from home initiatives with Sage 300. And we actually moved on to how Norming Resource Manager, our resource management add-on, will be able to actually power certain web approvals and workflows, even though your team is all away from the office. And I think as of last week, we actually introduced Sage CRM, a front-end sales, marketing, and service management tool to actually empower your front office employees. So today's topic will be slightly different, all right? It's something that would actually concern everyone in the organization. It's about data and how we actually leverage on the existing data in your existing Sage 300 or CRM system to power deeper and more meaningful business insights for the organization. So before we look at how we want to apply that and how Sage Enterprise Intelligence can actually address some of these particular concerns that you have, right? Let's look at some of the paradigm shifts that we are going through at this point of time in this pandemic situation, right? What are some of the concerns and challenges that we would face as a result of such changes in the way we do things, the way we report, the way we conduct our business? We'll delve on these 4 different points: securing and stabilizing cash flow. What are the changes and expectations and demands of the workforce moving forward? What and how would our customer and vendor expectations also change? And how would it actually result in some diversification of the supply chain as a whole, right? And data itself is very important tool in this journey, but it's how we get to it and what we do with it that will make the difference in navigating through the new normal, right? Along the way, we also cover some steps of how you might want to put your business, how you want to take in order to put your business in a position to thrive post-COVID-19 world. So first up, of course, it would be securing and stabilizing cash flow. Right, so for securing and stabilizing cash flow, it's not something new to everyone, right? I think everyone here who has been in a business for a long time know that it's of utmost importance, but even more so during this period, because a lack of financial insight, not just a lack of financial insight per se, but a lack of meaningful financial insight to where your cash flow is being tied up in, right? It could really cripple you from making the appropriate business decisions and allocation of funds to actually power your business forward. So securing and stabilizing cash flow is the first thing, very important thing to sustain your business in this current situation. And maybe in the past, you would be tracking your cash flow based on a monthly basis. Right now, it could probably be a weekly kind of thing, or even for certain businesses, a daily affair. So with added volatility, so how do we actually ensure that we keep this whole cash flow value chain intact? I think the first step for many businesses out there that they're actually looking to undertake is to take stock of the various lines of credit, right? Right now, we have the pick of the lot. We have banks that are offering financing. We have secondary financing options in the market. We have debt drawdown facilities. We have options for trade payables. And even in certain countries, governments are actually giving certain grants. I think what's important is how we actually factor in all these lines of credit in our overall cash flow strategy. And how do we power the insights to make certain decisions on certain lines of credit options to optimize our cash flow, right? And of course, I think it's also a good time for lots of businesses to actually understand the average order to cash versus the procure to pay timeframes, right? How do you actually optimize both processes in order for you to actually have some breathing space in terms of your cash flow? But before you can actually do that is to have an understanding, a proper understanding of the processes itself. And the data in your system and some historical trends is key to actually unlocking these insights, right? Certain reports, certain dashboards, or certain key information such as your top 5 vendors and customers, it's integral to actually optimize these collection times and these two particular process flows. Reason being, for example, for top 5 vendors, it allows you to actually have a view over which vendor you're in a way interacting and doing business with on a constant basis. And it gives you a position of advantage to maybe renegotiate certain terms in this current situation, to stretch your credit terms or stretch your credit facility with them, right? And of course, internally creating the proper KPIs on measuring and managing cash flow is very important as well, right? The different KPIs you may actually be required to pull on data from other aspects of the business. For example, the expenses portion, what are some of your open POs, what are your sales orders on hand, right? And you probably need the system to trigger certain notifications and alerts when certain metrics dips below a certain point. So the question to most businesses out there is, how do they actually gain greater visibility using the data they have on different aspects of this entire cash flow value chain? Moving on to it, the workforce is also changing, right? As you all know, lots of the countries today are going through certain lockdowns. Some of them are slowly opening up, but a recent poll among business organizations would say has actually shown that most businesses would still function from a work from home basis for the next few months. Some larger organizations like Twitter, like Google, have even announced that their staff will all be working from home till the end of the year. And we see this trend actually continuing quite a bit. So pre-COVID, most of these departments that you see on this slide here, your financials team, your human resources team, your inventory and warehousing team, the procurement team, and even the sales team, they're all probably working in pretty much close proximity together within the same office. So the process of actually getting information from another department is so much more easier back then than it is right now, where everyone's working from home, because maybe the data that you have, it's sort of decentralized across these different departments. And right now, getting to this data is quite an issue, right? So this whole work from home thing is actually adding a layer of complexity in extracting meaningful information across various departments. And at the same time, everyone is multitasking. Um, so the key is to actually empower the workforce to actually make certain decisions at a both a macro and a micro level, right? So they can only make these decisions if they have the information to do so. And honestly, the challenge that most businesses face today is that by the time that these departments or these individuals are given the information is no longer relevant at that point anymore, right? There's always that lag time, there's always that lead time in pushing out information to these individuals and employees that need to work on the information. So there's been a paradigm shift in the past that will actually flow through the next few months and time periods to actually shift the ownership of some of these decisions from the C level to other parts of the organization, maybe even the mid-tier management, right? And a key to this is to allow for organization-wide data access. And of course, it's segregated by role, right? So the main thing about the key takeaway of this paradigm shift and how it will affect businesses out there is basically, how are you as an organization enabling your staff to take less time looking for data and actually giving them more time to actually act on the data that they have instead of looking for it? So this is something to think of, right? And how are your systems optimizing this value chain? How are your systems actually allowing this data actually to flow through the organization in a meaningful and secure manner? And of course, there's going to be a shift in customer and vendor engagements, right? Post-COVID, as you can see, sustainability is very important to both customers and vendors. Ensuring that their business is running, right? And social distancing at the workplace is in full force. It might affect productivity to a certain point, you know. And at the same time, priorities will change due to survivability. Maybe you're probably working with a certain vendor that has multiple lines of business. Post-COVID, they may have actually shrunk in certain operations as well, right? I'll take an example for Airbnb. You know, recently they made some structural changes and decided to actually work on their core focus, back to their core business function itself, right? So how would this sustainability thing affect you moving forward, right? So it's important to apply certain what if analysis, predictions and everything using certain data in your system, right? So it's what's important is that surviving this pandemic is not just a marathon, but it's also, I mean, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So some of the questions that will arise from this whole situation is that will your customers now buy less from you? And at the same time, would your vendors also supply less to you because their production is affected? So the key is to have insights on historical data and use it as a yardstick in order to apply certain what if analysis calculations to it, right? Given this particular shift in mindset and shift in engagement modes. And to add to that, everyone's going virtual as well, right? So the engagement mode for customers and vendors is going online. So how do you keep up with that, right? For example, are you using any CRM system to streamline this process to actually engage your customers to ensure that your customer service reps get quicker insights on certain customer feedback, right? And if so, if even if you're using an existing CRM system to automate this, right, are you uh, applying the data across different functions, okay, to actually form some form of cross-functional analysis over the entire data workflow, right? And at the same time, you know, fulfillment, there's an increasing emphasis on contactless delivery. So the question is, will this actually increase or decrease delivery lead times to customers? And how do we factor this in our entire, purchase, production plan and delivery plan as an organization, right? And the other question on a lot of our customers' minds is basically how would your suppliers and vendors, or even some of the 3PL providers that you're working with, would they be overburdened with this delivery requests coming from multiple organizations? And will this increase the lead time of your goods in transit, right? And ultimately, all these will actually affect your ability to fulfill, all right? So of course, with all these things in mind, how are you factoring these changes into your decision-making process using the data that you have and applying certain what-if analysis to it, right? And of course, on the fulfillment part, it actually leads to the next segment and it leads to the next paradigm shift as well. So as we all know, there's a lot of diversification going on in supply chain, and it would actually happen a bit more in the next few months to come, in the next few years to come as a result of this pandemic, right? So supply chains would continue to be greatly affected due to the ongoing effects of the pandemic. You know, we have experienced lots of lockdowns and in Malaysia, movement control orders, things like that. These lockdowns actually impact the ability to fulfill, right? You know, goods stay in transit longer, and there's always a greater impact for certain perishable goods. So traditionally, every time we produce a certain good, we ship it out, we repack it at the warehouse through a 3PL or our own warehouse, and then we deliver it to the customer. So amidst this current situation, right, agility is key to navigate it, and a lot of these businesses today are actually moving their supply chains closer to the customer, right? And due to that, lower use as well will also equate a certain drop in productivity, right? So it's always about optimizing this whole value chain, and of course, the threat of second and third waves may see certain cities come under lockdown again suddenly without much warning. So it's always important to know and important to actually use certain data that you have in your system to optimize certain supply chains, right? And the key is to actually achieve certain agility in navigating all these changes and having near real-time insights over what's happening in your supply chain and how you can further optimize it, and also to a certain extent diversify it to gain a competitive advantage. You know, diversification today is not only just to gain a competitive advantage, but at the same time a tool for survival amidst this current situation. So you might be asking, all this information coming through about using data. So where do I start, right? Where do I start to actually address these paradigm shifts, and how do I gain the most out of it, right? So firstly is to actually understand the entire data value chain, right? All this information that you have in your different systems, your Sage 300 system, your Sage X3 system, your Sage CRM system, is data in itself, right? The data doesn't mean anything if it doesn't become information. Okay, bear this in mind. Data is data, but you need it to be transformed into information in order for you to make certain business insights, certain decision making based on this information that you have. And of course, it's very important to have a platform that can enable this, an analytics platform that can actually drill down on this data in your system, right? To actually extract it, model it in a meaningful way, and visualize it in a way that different stakeholders in the organization, whether it's C-level or middle management, are able to use this information to power certain decisions moving forward for the business. And not only just any decision, but well-informed decisions. So today, as we look at it, 94% of organizations out there are actually leveraging on data analytics and analytics as an important driver to their business growth. And this is further pushed forth during this period, whereby 47% of businesses polled actually say that this COVID-19 situation is causing lots of uncertainty and in fact affecting their forecast, affecting their supply chain, affecting the way they make decisions. And moving forward, right, 43% out of the 94% are actually looking to leverage on analytics as a core driver for their business. So the question is, are you on board on this, and are you using your data in a meaningful way, using the correct platforms, using the platforms that allow you to scale quickly, to actually power some of the decisions moving forward? So some tips on starting your data journey, right? I know for some people it might not be new to you, for some it might be new, right? But I think what's very important is to always focus on the business outcomes, to cut through all the white noise on which dashboards look more brilliant, which are more colorful, things like that. It's always on the business outcome and what you want to achieve. So unless you're sure of the end goal, always begin with a standardized approach to BI deployment, right? And along the way, there will be challenges, there will be business landscape changes. Accept and adapt your BI strategy moving forward along with this. And at the same time, take this opportunity to actually align certain departments and employees to actually use data meaningfully in driving their decision-making process, in driving certain actions in their daily work, right? To be more structured in terms of making certain decisions using the data that is presented to them. And of course, what's very important in starting the data journey is time to value in your BI project, in your data analytics project, right? You have to actually leverage on a tool and platform that allows you to scale further without being tied down to a lengthy project. It allows you to actually realize certain value from that particular platform in a matter of weeks, as opposed to months or even years in traditional data analytics projects, right? So time to value is key, and we do have a platform that can enable this and enable you to actually navigate the new normal, navigate all these paradigm changes. This is called Sage Enterprise Intelligence, right? It's a fully web native analytics platform that has brilliant dashboards and data modeling capabilities, right? So I'll now pass the time over to my colleague RC, right, who actually take you through this particular platform, actually deep dive a bit more into some of the features and functions in this platform. Over to you, RC.
Thank you, Nicholas. I hope everyone can see my screen. So before I start, let me introduce what is Sage Enterprise Intelligence. It's an analytics tool and compelling with our visualizations tools. It allows you to make faster and informed decisions for your business. So how Sage Enterprise Intelligence can help you, especially in these critical periods. I'll go through the points that Nicholas has highlighted during the first part of the presentations. I'll touch on each in an individual points of the challenges that most of the organizations are facing. So before I start, SEI or Sage Enterprise Intelligence is a platform that allows you to tap into different data sources. So what it has for Sage itself is we already have all the templates for different solutions in Sage. So by it X3 300 CRM itself, and it's purely web-based that you can view on your mobile, tablets, or even the desktops. So not only that, it actually can text into your subsystem or your third-party micro website, as long as the connectivity is there. And this data will be collated into a single platform, and you have a single source of truth, and you can get the data at your fingertips. Why Sage is going ahead with SEI is, look at it that we have your CRM covered, Sage 300 covered, and we provide an elevation move to a Sage X3. So within the single platform, even if you move your product from Sage 300 to X3, Sage SEI is still able to support the elevations transition periods. So now we go into individual challenges that Nick have highlighted. So revenue is important, but cash flow is the king. So with cash flow forecast and financial performance, we will understand our current business financial standings, and that will equate that how much are we going to invest in our high risk project? Are we able to fork out additional funds to invest on it? Do we need to make any adjustments to different departments where the cash flow has been locked down? Do we need to unlock it, or so on and so forth? And are our customer paying on time? Do we need to send a dunning, and so on and so forth? This will ensure that your cash flow is stable and you are able to do proper investment and so on. Next, we look at the other problems. To understand your customers and suppliers' demands, we have the sales forecast and realizations, including the sales performance. By having this kind of visualizations, you are able to visualize the buying patterns or the trends itself. And most importantly, based on this trend, you can do your segmentation by doing slicings to the territory, events to the different industry. From there, you can do your proper marketing or your direct customers campaigns and so on. As such, you're able to increase your sales and also to realize your suppliers' demands and the shippings that coming in. So lastly, how to counter the future supply chain disruption with a combination of different charts. Like we have the productions, the procurements, including the sales analysis. With this combination, you have a holistic view throughout your business, knowing that where your supplier is coming in. Are there alternative suppliers that you have? Do you need to diversify your orders? Your sales analysis, like I've mentioned earlier, the customers itself, their buying trend. Who is your top 5 customer? Are you going to grow new customer? And your production, are your projects so-called having the proper gains within your project? What is the actual and the budgeted for? Is there really a price cost effective in your project? What is your cost analysis over your project? You are able to do your pricing model over the production itself, or even the PJC portions. You can adjust the price according to the sales analysis portions. So this will have the whole holistic view. Even if the suppliers is going to increase a sense in your procurement process, it will equate to your productions. From there, you will do your sales analysis, whether the 1 cent is to be absorbed within your company, or it should be pushed to the customers to absorb it. So this is the 3 combinations that you can look at by doing some adjustment over here and there. So without further ado, let's go to what the actual system is all about. So give me a moment. Nick, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the iPad screen that we have, the native mobile apps that you can actually download from Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Within the screen itself, we have this kind of tiles. There's probably the different models, views, dashboard, reports, and you can save certain dashboard or reports to your favorites. So take it as we look at our cash flow. So at one tabs of your tablets, you are able to pull all data and have this kind of information right at your fingertips. Not only that, within the dashboard itself, we have all these pre-built views and dashboardings throughout Sage 300 itself. So we have more than 100 plus templates that's already pre-built. So I would say that this tablet or native apps is good for high-level users, for a CEO or a C-level user, as you can directly do a slicing on your different dashboard. For example, the OIN shipping, you can do a straight slicing, but I'm not suggesting that you do real analytics in this tablet sports, because the real analytics you might need to write some scriptings to do some projections or go into some modeling itself. So the max that you can do will be probably just do the slicing that I have shown earlier, or even just do a drill down and so on, or filtering. That's the portions that we are probably drill down into it, but not really to do the analytics portions. But let me show you what we can do is in the desktop mode that you will probably do this kind of real analytics and so on and so forth. So I have shown you the dashboarding, etc. So taking an example, we are going to do analytics as a sales manager. So within the territory, I would like to look at this particular territory. We can able to drill down and follow on that. We are able to see different territories it is. So for multiple territories, we can actually link it to a report. For example, I want to see the sales history. We are able to directly link to the reports itself. So take this as an example. If you are going to go and have this report to be churned out, you need to go and call to your back office or finance portions to pull out all the data. And you can see is by periods over the years and so on. How much efforts and the turnaround times to get this report done and presented to you. Whereas for me, it's just a few clicks away. So for example, we take another example of these aging reports. Yes, we can pull out the aging reports. However, if we have these aging categories that's over 120 plus days, we can do a direct filter over the widgets. And from here, we know that these few sales representatives should do their works. So what we can do is actually, we can directly using this, and we can do an email to the particular sales representative to get them to go and chase up all the payment and so on and so forth. Not only that, let's take a look at the purchasing. So from here, we have this vendor by vendor, purchase order by vendor. So when we do a filter, this worries me because there's only particular vendors that is supplying me one particular items. If this vendor is holding on to all my business, how am I going to diversify? So apparently, we are able to set some comments telling our sales or our purchasing department, writing some text telling them that search for alternative vendors. We can even put a marker highlighting the amount, and then we are able to download it to do to your local system or send it out via email directly. So to the particular person, you can send it out directly as a PDF. So within the dashboard itself, you are able to write these kind of comments when you find certain insights and you want certain actions to carry out by your different departments. Email sent successful. So you are working within the analytics portion within the single platform without going back to your back office, collate all your data. The turnaround time right now is crucial because every decision makes at these uncertainty periods will keep your business running and so on. Let me show you how some customizations or changings that you can do within SEI itself. So taking an example, we have this chart whereby by certain options, you are able to show the top 5 shipment customers that you have. Simply by a few clicks away, you are able to know who are your top 5. You are able to change your visualizations or different chart mode over here. You have a full list of comparable listing itself. Once you get the product, you are able to mix and match. Even KPIs you are able to set. So it's on the fly, you are able to change the charting itself, but do take note there are certain fields that you might want to toggle in between. You are able to do so or add even more new fields. So within the SEI itself, it doesn't go by visualizations only. Like I've mentioned, you are able to do your income statements by year, compared by actual, last year to date, and so on. Your cash flow via your periods. And finally, what is the comparing analytics tools that SEI have compared to others? So taking an example, we have these tables or this data that we have. So if we are going to do some changes to the data, we are able to do within SEI. So note that what we have in SEI is that we already pre-built all the data models and views inside. You need not to care about what is the database structures. So if you are going to say that this is our budget table or our budgeting database, with this write back, so-called amend these values in the database itself, it will actually update the budget accordingly. So take an example. For sales itself, your sales quota, if you are able to expose the data to us, we are able to write back to the database to do your projection of your sales quota, be it your financial, budgeting, or by department, your cost accounting, you want to change your budgeting, you are able to do your budgeting via here. For HR portion, if you are able to take into the HR payroll, etc., after the ranking portion, you do the bell curve, the top 20% incremental of so on, you are able to write back this kind of data also. So what is one more good thing is on the fly, you are able to do calculations. So like I said, for HR, if you are saying that the bell curve portion, if you are going to do a projection using the format with the numeric, and from here, this is, I wouldn't say it's a real scripting, but it's basically what you just click and drop. So for example, we have this table with the value, I multiply by 1.2, means that the increments of 20%. We can do a validations. So we have a projected value here. We can add column to view. We are able to do this projected amount. So like I say, if we are having the bell curve in HR, we want to do an incremental of 20% of sale in their salary. We are able to do these direct projections. So that equates to this sales quota and so on and so forth. So to conclude, analytic tools has been around for quite some time, but to have an analytic tools that is tightly integrated with Sage products, I would say is that right now, if most of the customers are Sage 300, are using Sage 300 as their base financial platform, SEI is currently the products that you need to have, because you already have these pre-built templates and the model itself. You need not to spend times, even days or months to go and understand the data model, whereas this data model is already pre-built into these data cubes that you are able to do your analytics immediately and make your decisions right now. Okay, I have ended my demo. I'll pass it to Nick and he will explain more about the key functionality of SEI. Nick, over to you.
Thank you, RC. All right. Hope everyone can see my screen. So thank you once again, RC and everyone who has stuck by for this particular webinar. Right. So to recap on some of the key features that we basically have within the SEI platform itself, right? So as you know, this is a comprehensive analytics tool that allows you to actually report from multiple sources, any source, whether it's a SQL table or not, or a different platform aside from Sage 300, right? It allows for multi-company as well, right? So for example, for some of you who are in the trading business or the manufacturing business with multiple subsidiaries that in a way report up to a parent company, you're able to actually drill down and you're able to actually extract data from different subsidiaries to do certain management reports. And it's very, very useful, especially for budgeting purposes, forecasting purposes. And if you want to actually apply certain what if analysis to your your business intelligence strategy, right? And as RC has shown, it's very collaborative. It allows you to collaborate very well with your downstream functions or your lateral functions, okay, through the use of through the automatic distribution of certain pre-built reports that you have created on the fly, right? There's an Excel add-in as well. So for example, for some of your users who are probably new to this and you want to actually, in a way, smoothen out the ramp up period, you want them to use Excel first and slowly go into the SEI, we do have an Excel add-in as well, right? And of course, the key differentiating feature compared to other systems is that we do have pre-built dashboards and secure and live integrations with Sage 300 and X3 as well, for that matter. So it's very important because these pre-built dashboards are already pre-created for all our customers, right? For Sage 300 alone, we have close to 100 plus pre-built dashboards. That's a lot, to be frank, right? And these dashboards do not only cover the financial aspect of the business. We do have dashboards that are pre-built for the operational aspects of the business. So, for example, the purchasing portion, the project portion, the sales portions, these different functions, we all have pre-built dashboards to cater for them, right? And as RC has shown earlier, you can actually access the platform through an iPad, a tablet, or through a browser. Of course, for the users, especially at the C-level, who are viewing this data and viewing this information through their tablet or their phone, it would make more sense for them just to view the dashboards and do their own slicing and dicing of selecting and filtering certain data, not necessarily to actually do all the calculations and create all these dashboards from their tablet. That's where the the browser version comes in. So for a SEI user who wants to actually create certain dashboards and reports based on some of the pre-built templates, they would actually access the system through a browser, right? They have full functionality, full view over everything, and full control over which users can see what kind of data, right? So it's very intuitive, it's very secure as well. And most importantly, it's also quick to deploy, right? It allows you to realize the value of your BI investment almost immediately, right? So let's take a look at the realization period of SEI versus other BI platforms out in the market. It's very important because, like what I brought up earlier, the faster you have access to this information, the faster you can make those decisions that matter to your business, right? And in a way, flatten out your cost of investment, right? So the realization period for SEI, as shown in that green line, okay, it's quick and fast. Within the first month or even the first week, you can actually realize certain value out of the system due to some of these pre-built cubes and reports, okay? Whereas as compared to other vendors, the cost of investment will actually compound over time, right? Due to the fact that they would need to actually pre-build a lot of, need to recreate a lot of these cubes, recreate a lot of these reports from your Sage 300 system or Sage CRM system or your X3 system, right? Okay, and this actually stretches your cost of investment, and it actually has a compounding effect over time until the project goes live or goes through its UAT phase, right? So with SEI, you're keeping your cost low from the get-go, and at the same time, you're keeping your risk low as well, because you're starting from a baseline where all these reports are already pre-built for you. Okay, you can actually access them first and see how relevant they are to your business. And in the future, if you want to tweak anything else, right, that platform allows you to do it flexibly and intuitively as well, right? So it's a very powerful platform that we hope that businesses, our customers today, can consider in driving lots of these decisions as you navigate through the new normal, right? So we are done with our presentation. I thank you once again for spending the time with us this morning. Again, hope everyone is well. I'll open the floor now to Q&A if anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick and RC, for the insightful session. Attendees, you are now given the vocal right. If you'd like to share your question, please unmute yourself on the control panel on your right, or type the question if you prefer.
Hello?
Okay, looks like we have one
Yes.
first question coming up now. Would you like to share your question?
Yes, hello. Now we are in process of implementing AutoSimpli manufacturing model for Sage 300. My question is, your SEI does have also reports and dashboards which retrieve data from AutoSimpli manufacturing part. Do you understand my question?
We only have the standard so-called modules for Sage 300. For AutoSimpli manufacturing, we currently don't have the preview template for it.
Okay, understand. Yep. Another question is, what is the principle of licensing of SEI? How it is licensed, and what is the, let's say, what is the approximate the price of license?
So price-wise, I think we will get the partner to actually communicate that with you. We have pricing options in both perpetual and subscription. So we are pretty flexible with the pricing options out there for our customers. So maybe after this session, you could leave your name with my colleague Priscilla, and we will get back to you on the pricing and actually do some drill down as to your requirements for this BI platform for your organization.
That's okay. I think I can contact here my local Sage, your partner. They're doing implementation for us now. Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
or
so
if you'd like to leave your at least your email address, we also can take care of you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your question.
Okay, yes,
I've got quite a number of questions in the question box here. So the next one coming up is, can SEI access all Sage 300 module, including PJC?
Like I mentioned, PJC is inside, but AutoSimpli, this manufacturing and so on, these ISP products, we don't have the preview templates at the moment. We'll look into that to discuss internally whether what is the demands, and perhaps we'll try to come up a few from there and so on. Yep.
Okay, good. Rasi, I think the next one is also for you. Can existing data cube be modified?
Okay, because we are using a runtime data cube for now, I doubt you can do modifications. You need additional licenses to do additional cube building or do your own cubes. So I wouldn't say that I would say that you cannot do any modification at the moment. It's just a preview cube over there. You pull all the data from our Sage products.
Okay, This question is probably for Nick. Is SEI available in the Philippines?
Yes, it is. It is. It's available wherever Sage Asia has a presence in through our partners. But given that it's, I would say that it's something that is relatively new. In the past, we've pushed SI a lot, Sage Intelligence Reporting a lot, the Excel native platform within Sage 300. But with SEI, we're moving a step further into the analytics game, right? To allow you to have, to gain benefit from all these pre-built 100+ different pre-built reports and dashboards, right? Which is basically a web native platform to actually access all this information anywhere, anytime, on any device, right? So it's slightly different from what we have done in the past with Sage Intelligence Reporting. This platform is totally different. Yep.
Thank you, Nick. Believe this question is for Long Chuan. How long does it take for SEI implementation?
Okay, I think Nick will be the best person to answer, right, Nick?
There you go, Nick.
So, all right, great. So based on the pre-built reports, the out-of-the-box standard implementation based on the all the pre-built reports that we already have in the platform, we are in a way quoting it based on a 7 to 10 man-day type of time frame. So if you include all your information gathering, you can easily get up and running within a month or so, based on the standard reports that we already have in the system. So it's comparatively shorter if you compare it to other analytics platforms out in the market today. If you were to base it on the same amount of reports, the same volume of reports for Sage 300.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Next question, is SEI available for all Sage 300 version?
Support back to 2017, 3 version back. So for 2020, 2019 until 2017. So the 2020 currently is supported also. Because what I'm showing this version is the latest version. So some of the older version is not supported already.
Thank you, RC. Is this product included with Sage 300 installation disk?
No, it's a separate.
It's a separate add-on, right? And of course, a separate investment cost to it. But it has pre-built integrations, pre-built cubes and reports, like I mentioned, for Sage 300.
Thanks, Nick. This gentleman mentioned here, he's planning to archive data from front-end application. API and SDK, are they available in SEI?
Currently, we don't have the APIs for it, but we have another module that is for SEI itself, is able to do the ETL process. So if you're talking about pulling out all the data to particular data cube or models or database, we are able to do that. So for archiving or backup solutions, I think that one is a separate stuff over there.
So archiving is, I think, more towards how you store it. So this platform is, you can basically host it on premise or you can host it on the cloud. It's really up to you. We are very flexible with our commercial options and our hosting options for SEI, right? And like what RC said, it has certain ETL or extract, transform, load functions that allows you to pull data from different sources, not just Sage 300 or Sage CRM, right? And combine it within a cube to actually do certain analysis to it. So it's very flexible as well when it deals with other systems. Of course, it really depends on some of the requirements of your front-end system, the structure of your front-end system. So it would be good to actually bring in a partner to do some study to it. And if you would like us to be involved, we're happy to be a part of that process as well.
Okay, does it support ORCID InfoQ?
At this moment, no.
So ORCID
Okay.
InfoCube, from my understanding, it's a separate third-party tool, right, for certain budgeting purposes. The scope of SEI itself is much wider if you compare it to ORCID InfoCubes. It can do much more. There's greater visualization functions within the platform. And I mean, the icing on the cake is that we have these pre-built reports, and at the same time, it's fast to deploy as well.
Thanks, Nick. Does it cover all ISP partner product line or only financial or operational module of Sage 300?
So it covers the financials and operational modules of Sage 300, inclusive of PJC. But I think the silver lining is that since I mean, we work very closely with these ISVs. I mean, after we have done certain study for the organization's requirements as to what information to pull out from this ISV add-ons, I would say the process to actually come up with certain dashboards that you need with SEI will be much simpler compared to an external BI tool.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Next question. This gentleman say he likes to dig deeper into his data. How many layers to be considered? And is it dependent to the built-in template?
Okay, if you're talking about layers, actually, if I think Nick has shown a multi-company, so-called multi-company the chart during the demo. So if you are talking about going deep dive into company itself, there's no limits of going down to multiple company and so-called drill down to all the different data. So it's depending on the first portions that how are we going to build in the standard cubes itself. So at this moment, from what I know, there is no limits to the drill downs to the until the transaction line of the records. So we like what Nick has mentioned, even at the transaction level, any changes of the data, we can do this distribution of notifications and so on. We have the workflow over there. So honestly, it's to the level of the transaction records.
Thank you, RC. Next question. Is SEI the same as Sage Intelligent Reporting or different module?
So it's different. Sage Intelligence Reporting is Excel native, but you don't exactly have certain dashboarding capabilities to it. And the act of creating your own reports and might be a bit more cumbersome compared to SEI, right? And I think for SI itself, Sage Intelligence Reporting, it only comes with about 25 to 30 pre-built reports, whereas for SEI, it's much larger. The scope is much wider. So we have close to 100 or 100 plus, sorry, try and correct me if I'm wrong, 100 plus pre-built reports. And for SEI, it comes with certain dashboarding capabilities as well. And it's web native. So you can access it. And
of the question that we raised today, let me see. Yeah, we are good. That's the end of the question. I have other question, quite a number of questions here, which is regards to whether you will get a copy of the presentation and the webinar recording. Yes, you may expect a follow-up mail from us by latest either Monday or Tuesday, together with a link where you could actually click on the link to actually look at today's presentation or go through the webinar recording again. At the same time, you are also given the opportunity to look at past webinar session with regards to work from home with Sage in case you miss any of them. Before we wrap up, I also want to share that we'll be sending an invitation out to you guys very soon for the upcoming webinar session on 27 May, where we will touch on business continuity and productivity. So we're looking forward to welcome you guys back. Thank you very much for your time today. As you exit from this webinar, you will be directed to a survey, and we will much appreciate a few minutes of your time to help us improve further. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you once again to Nick and RC for sharing with us today. Thank you, everyone. Stay well and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. See you.
Thanks, bye.